So as I showed you in last week's unboxing video, I finally got two Nephila spiders, and this is an actual Nephila species. Inside of this I have a female, and inside of this enclosure I have a male. We will add them into this enclosure, and in the same time this video will be an update in regards to the whole situation inside of this enclosure, because if you're wondering, hey, don't you have an fake Nephila spider inside of this enclosure? You are right, but that female is gone, and also there were some babies, but now I will talk about later in the video. And in case you're not familiar with the whole situation, the reason why I'm calling the spider that I had inside of this enclosure a fake Nephila, it is because it was labeled as Nephila, but when I got it, it turned out that it was actually an Argiope species. So yeah, the seller had spider wrongly labeled. But that wasn't the problem, because we still house it inside of this enclosure, and I had a ton of fun keeping it. But now, they are seasonal, and the spider is actually gone. Let me show you. I think that you can still see part of his web, her web. If you can actually see it, maybe yes, maybe no, but here are the part of her web. And she died like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago maybe. And yeah, they are seasonal, they don't live long, so it is not a surprise. I was expecting that. But the funny thing is, I found her dead right there on the substrate, and I didn't record her straight away because I was thinking I will record her tomorrow, and then tomorrow when I came here with camera, she was no longer there and she was dead for sure, which shows you how good cleanup crew is inside of this enclosure. I have bunch of isopods. I also added some rocks for them here, and if I lift the rock, probably we will find some. Oh, not really. There is actually a dead isopod. That's funny. But you can see some babies over there. Now let's check the other rock. There is, you see, there is one isopod. Okay, but there aren't many. During the night I can actually see a ton of them. I don't know where they are hiding now. We will probably see some under these leaves. Yeah, you see, there is some adult, and oh, there is a ton of isopods. So they are the cleanup crew of this enclosure, and they actually ate the whole spider within one night, which is nice. Also, I knew that she is reaching her end when I noticed that she actually had more and more trouble grabbing the prey. She would constantly drop the prey, and even it seemed like her web was a bit less sticky than it used to be. It can be just a coincidence, but I had really hard time sticking a roach inside of her web and make sure that it stays over there. And when she would run to grab it, she would often just drop it. She couldn't hold it for long. I had a plan to record her webbing up the prey in slow motion, but unfortunately she died before I actually did that. But the good thing is I ordered a new camera, and that one can record for even, that one can record even slower, slow motion. So I will try to do the same thing with Nephila spider, and that slow motion recording should be super cool. Thankfully, before she died, she actually dropped, and if camera can focus on it, there we go. She actually dropped another egg sac, and you know that she already dropped one in this corner, not corner, on this side. And the super thing is, I posted it on the Instagram a long time ago. That egg sac appeared to hatch because there were a ton of baby spiders inside of this enclosure, and they were around the middle of the enclosure, all clustered together. When I would blow at them, they would spread around, but then quickly they would just all gather in one big clump, and they were there hanging for like a week or so. I was thinking about doing an update, but I knew that only that one single topic will not be enough for full video, so I decided to wait to see how the situation will develop with them. And then slowly but certainly there were less and less spiderlings for me to observe, and now when I'm looking at the enclosure, I only see two webs here on top of the enclosure. Here is one web, and up there is another web. But on this one I can see the spider, on the other I'm not quite sure. I will take a macro lens and we will try to zoom in on this spider, and that will also be my close-up look at this spider, because I'm assuming that that is Argiope baby, but I'm not 100% sure, because it is weird that only those two survived out of like 100 spiders. I don't know, so weird. I was looking around, but I couldn't find any other web. So here I am with the macro lens, and of course the spider is on the other side of the web, but looking at, you see the pattern around the web, I mean on the center of the web. That is definitely something that Argiope would do, even though female was doing a different pattern. And sorry for the shaking, I'm holding the camera up in the air, so I have a hard time keeping it steady. I will try to go on the other side and maybe we will see the spider. There we go. Now what do you think? Is that a Nephila baby? It could be, right? It is super tiny, but I think that we can see it pretty good here on the camera. And let me check the other one. Yeah, it seems that the web is deserted, you see. It is half destroyed anyway. Yeah, I assume that it was empty. I don't know why, but it seems that the spiders are on it. What? It actually went on the other side of the web? How? When? Yeah, look. How is this possible? How the spider managed to went on the other side of the web? Did it went around or... I have no idea, guys. At least we have one. And the reason why I left all babies inside of this enclosure and I didn't put them in separate container, I wanted to see if they will be able to survive in this environment. And also, since she already dropped a second egg sac, I thought that I will have a second chance if the spider babies don't survive inside of this enclosure. But it is funny that that one spider survived while all the others didn't. I'm thinking that there are actually a lot of other spider species inside of this enclosure, and maybe they just ate all the spider babies. That is quite possibilities, because I can show you some. You see this right here? This is actually a spider's web, and I never introduced this spider inside of this enclosure. I will drop the roach and maybe the spider will come out. I'm not sure how big the spider is, so hopefully this will not be a too big roach. Ah, classic mistake. I kinda squished the roach too much. I'll just drop another. What? Oh, this one can walk on the web without a problem. But where is the spider? Is that the spider? I cannot see it well on the display. But yeah, roach is just walking across the web without any care in the world. This is so funny. It looks like the roach will actually escape while Laterales roach is still struggling down there, you see. Once again, I'm using the macro lens and you can see the spider down there. You can see the legs really well, but it seems like the spider is well fed and can't be bothered grabbing those roaches. Okay, you're lost, buddy. Anyway, you understand my point. The point is there are wild spiders inside of this enclosure. Also inside of this cork bark. Look, if I shine some light, you can see the spider right down there. And is that what? I need the macro lights again. What the hell? Did the spider manage to catch a snail? What? You see, there's the spider, and this is for sure a snail shell. I cannot believe. This is crazy. Okay, so there is one spider, and right here you see this web here. I also spotted some different spider down there. Let me do some poking around and maybe it will come out. It is black and it looks almost like a black widow. There is one molt if you can see it, but I don't see the actual spider. These are parts of isopod exoskeleton, so yeah, that spider is feeding on isopods. And also on top you can see the webs. There are a lot of webs around the enclosure. Perhaps I should clean it, but I think that it is pretty cool that I have a bunch of different spider species living inside of this enclosure. And since this egg sac hatched, I actually want to pull it out and check it out up close. That doesn't really look open, to be honest. Could it be possible that there was a third egg sac? I don't see a hole from where the spiders could hatch. But that is definitely some different spider. I never seen a spider like that one. So the only explanation that is an Argiope species. I guess if I see another batch of spider babies, that will confirm that the other one hatched. And the time will tell. You see this webbing? This is the webbing that the babies were on. And they were just slowly moving from this area. They were moving up, and then there were a bunch on top. I'm guessing that the reason why that one is on top, firstly, it is warmer because of the light, and secondly, a lot of flies, tiny flies, are flying around the light. So maybe it is there because there is just the best way to catch prey. So I will just let it be over there, and hopefully it will continue to grow and we will see how it will develop. Also, a while ago I dropped a random millipede that I found outside. I dropped it inside of this enclosure, and every now and then I can spot it crawling around. So it is still alive and kicking, and it seems that it likes the moist and warm environment that we have inside. So now it is finally time to add the Nephila inside of this enclosure, the real Nephila. And I was thinking, since this female is maybe not fully adult, I won't be adding a male inside just yet. I will see if this female will molt anytime soon, but if it doesn't molt, I will then introduce the male once I see that the female is well acclimated inside of the enclosure. So now we will add only the female. I think that I will do the same thing that I did with fake Nephila. I will just release it on this branch, and from there we will track and see where it will go and if it will make the web within one night. But look at this spider. You can tell that this is Nephila for sure, right? Just by judging at the shape of the abdomen and also how long the legs are. And this is actually a kind of small one, you see. Compare it with my hand. It is not a big spider, but her legs are already so long. Let's go, girl. On my hand, just stay there. And I will just put you over there. Oh yeah, there she goes. It seems that she is a bit more active than Argiope, the fake Nephila. Oh, she is gone. Up in the air already. Look, she's going just up, 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 and up. Thankfully, she's bigger than other spiders inside of this enclosure, so she doesn't have any threat, any real threat. And why do spiders always need to go in the darkness so I cannot record it well? What are you doing? Are you already chilling? I was hoping that you will be more active. But okay, we can set the camera on the stand and see where you will go. Hopefully, we will see her web the web. As I set the camera to record a time lapse, she actually started to eat Argiope's old web, so I had to whip out the old camera to record that. I knew that they eat their old webs, but I never knew that they will actually eat someone else's web also. She was doing that for a while until she got rid of all the web, and then she slowly but surely started to pull the baselines for her own web. And by the next morning, her web was complete, so I decided to test it out with one roach. Unfortunately, I immediately noticed that an adult lateralis male roach is way too big for her, so she just let it fall off her web. Then I dropped a bit smaller one, but he was also a bit too big, as you can see, so she just patiently waited until he also dropped off her web. Thankfully, they say third time's the charm, because I used even smaller roach, and after a bit of slow stalking and creeping, she eventually charged and bit the roach. But interestingly, she didn't wrap it, as you see. She just waited a bit for venom to kick in, and then she moved it to the center of her web, where she actually wrapped it after some time. But she was doing it super slow. After she was done, she actually hung from the web. I mean, she hung the roach from her web like some sort of bag, and I assumed to wait for venom to liquefy the insides of the roach. And after a bit of cleaning, the roach was ready and she started to consume it. Then another funny thing happened. She left the roach and went down to pick a leg that was left stuck in her web from an adult male lateralis roach that I tried to use first, and she actually did the same thing. She hanged it briefly and then started munching on it. Now a few days have passed since I fed her, and back in the background you can see the roach leftovers. They are still hanging over there. And also what is interesting, let me see if I can get it into focus. You see that she is standing on her web like normal weaver, but if I focus a bit closer, you can see these lines of web. These are in front of her web and also in the back where the roaches are hanging. Also there are lines of web behind her web, which is super weird. You see that maybe if I move away a bit, we'll be able to see it better. Yeah, I'm not sure, but you see all of these. This is her web that is in front of her actual web. And that is super weird. I never experienced any orb weaver doing that. There are so many layers to her web because of that. You see the roach leftover behind her. They are pretty far away from her, and all of those are the layers of the web that go behind her, which is super interesting. Also, in case you can hear the sound of water dripping a bit louder than usual, look what happened. The door from Vampire Crab enclosure fell down and shattered in pieces. The thing is, the pin broke, of course, and I had it taped with this painter's tape, but apparently that wasn't strong enough and door just fell down. That is the old door design that is not as sturdy as now new door design, so I'm going to have to change the whole system, which is actually better to have a proper door on that enclosure. Now, with that being said, this is the end of this video. Hopefully the female will molt soon, so I will give you guys another update when that happens, because then I will try to breed her if that will be possible. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see how the girl will develop. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs it up and comment something. If you want to support this channel more, there's a Patreon page. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I upload every Monday. And yeah, I still don't know when I will be back to streaming. I would like to do a live breeding, but I cannot find any male for my females. So as soon as I find some male, we will have a live breeding. That will be fun. So, see you on Monday. Bye!